Okay, so have any of you ever met someone that, comes off across as so rude, arrogant, or even, uneducated, and you just think to yourself, man, I wonder how this person got that way? Well, I'm sure we all have, and a lot of times we look to that person for the answers, when sometimes it's what's behind them, such as the person or thing that influences them. Which brings me back to this quote in the Bible that reads, "If the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch." So, using examples with family relationships, educational relationships, and personal relationships, I'll talk about how a lot of people are misled and fall into bad habits. So with family relationships, a lot of times it's you meet a child or someone who may be, have some racist, racial instincts to be, sort of racist. And I've met people like that before. And I've also met their parents. And that's where I see that they get it from. So, in one case, I had a friend, he was of, American descent. And I went to a family party of his, and he would always just joke around and say, kind of racial jokes, about, Mexicans or, sometimes black people and stuff. And I just thought he was just joking around. It's just his sense of humor. But then once I met his family and how they were, I realized that that's just the way he was raised, to think of themselves as superior to other races. And they were from Alabama, so I guess it's a cultural thing too. Maybe he had some family members that he told me were actually in the KKK. So now I realize that it's not just him, but it's also his family that has influenced him. And with educational relationships, I think of myself as a pretty religious guy, but I also keep an open mind, and I like science, and my major is actually biology. And I have some friends who are devout, Christians or Catholics, and sometimes I try to stay away from the whole religious topic, but sometimes it comes up, and we talk about evolution or other things, and I realize that, teachers that they've had in either, Christian or Catholic school have made them think of science in a certain way, and I don't believe it's all that good because of all the innovations and new ideas that come to light. And it's a hard topic to talk about because they're so close-minded and so stuck on their ways and their beliefs, and it doesn't let them to believe in other things. Whereas I believe in religion and science being one and the same, and it's nice to be able to believe in two things and not be close-minded about things. And lastly, personal relationships. A lot of times, I think whether it's the female or the male, we have personal relationships where someone can influence the other to do certain acts or to think in a certain way, and they're being misled. Like, for example, jealousy comes to play a lot of times, and you have a male partner who wants to tell his female partner how she should dress or how she should behave, and not have her own mind, and then in that way she's also being misled. So, it goes back to the whole, if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. So if you let someone who's ignorant, arrogant, uneducated lead you and talk to you into doing something or to believing in one thing, and you don't keep your own thoughts to yourself, it'll only lead to failure and problems and more difficulties, because you're not creating your own ideas and your own thoughts and your own way of thinking. And I believe that we should never let someone influence us so much as to create our personality or our character or way of being, but we should all form our own persons from our own experiences and things that we pick from other people to the best that we pick from other people and experiences. Thank you.
Yeah, there wasn't anything that I think was problematic in the speech. I think you did a solid job on just about everything. The rhetorical question at the beginning is fine. It was a little awkward trying to figure out the point that you were trying to make, but you tied it into the topic adequately. I did appreciate the fact that there was a preview in the speech and that you tried to keep it organized during the presentation. Some of your examples are a little abstract. I think that you could be a bit more precise, but I thought you had a good story on the first point especially, and that worked well. On the presentation issues, sometimes your pacing is a little lethargic. I think maybe you could be a bit more energetic and engaged. You seem a little hesitant, and but it's all delivered smoothly. I like that. There's a limited amount of gestures, but you had an occasional indicator here or there. Your eye contact with the audience. You look around. You look up regularly. You seem to be speaking to the audience for the most part. I don't know that you ever engage. Sometimes it does feel a little bit like you're scanning the audience rather than, talking to people, but I didn't get the impression that you were hiding from anybody. Your anxiety level is very controlled. I liked the end of the speech. I thought you had a pretty good summary of the point that you were trying to make also. All right, thank you.